Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, December 9th, 2024. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Monday, everyone. Here's a look at the ES and the daily time frame here. Narrow range heading into the RTH Open, just 17 points of range. That's 40% of average. We're still stuck in a narrow multi-day range and continue to see a very clear low volatility melt up right now, especially since that day one rejection that we saw back here. On that day one rejection that we mentioned at the time that would likely lead to about 1 to 3 weeks of strength, and we're about 3 weeks into that move right now. We continue to see price hit new all-time highs, and we're currently sitting at 6,100. But today could be relatively low volatility, range-bound action with an upward bias until proven otherwise. This week, not really much on the economic data calendar for Monday, but we do have inflation data coming up Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday we get CPI and core CPI data, and on Thursday we get PPI and core PPI data. So those are going to be the big ticket items this week. Next week we get the Fed rate decision. So next Wednesday, December 18th, we get the Fed rate decision. So the market could be kind of in a mostly holding pattern ahead of that with an upward bias. If we take a look here at the NQ, you'll see right here NQ, very similar price action, narrow range of price action here, 120 points of range, 49% of ADR, melt up phase as well. This melt up phase has been a little bit more elongated to the upside. Day one rejection here, still holding very strongly here as this market continues to see new highs. Today's new high, 21,706 and a quarter. And again, like the ES, we could be mostly range bound with an upward bias here, especially to begin the week. Wednesday we could get more volatility and into Thursday as well, but still trending up until proven otherwise. Bulls want to look to defend morning weakness. Looking at crude oil. Crude oil now, this one much stronger here today. This one's up 1.4% here today. This is something we had in our trading room on Friday as a turnaround and rally candidate. Not just Monday, but Sunday evening. We had this as a rally candidate Sunday evening. We got into the 67 level. We've talked about 67s being a major area of support for crude oil. And you'll notice how when price drops into 67s here, we tend to have a big time turnaround that happens the very next day on multiple rotations here. Very next day, big time rotations back to the upside. This time we also closed right on top of 67s. Today, another big time turnaround, and we could see more strength ahead, likely back toward the previous session's high of 68.49 and perhaps even beyond it into 69 up above. So could be looking at further strength up ahead, and like we've seen before, this strength could be fleeting. It could be 1 to 5 days and then turn right back down. Like I mentioned before, with crude oil, we're coming into the back end of the bearish seasonality for the season here, where we see a bit of weakness into the first couple of weeks of December, and then the back half of December tends to be a bit more bullish, with a bullish start to the year into the first week of March. So there could be 3 months of strength coming up ahead, with a move that could take us as high as 78.50 by the first week of March. So the next push we get to the downside could be the last for the year. And with OPEC on deck this week, we get OPEC meetings Tuesday, Wednesday. That could bring about some headline risk as well for this market. All right, taking a look here at gold futures. Gold right here up 1% and is getting a breakout move through the top of the narrow multi-day range. This has been a narrow 8-day range. We can change the ADR indicator here to be 8 days right there. And you can see right there, 8-day compression, breakout through the highs here. And that 8-day compression, 43% of average, and the potential here is for 140 points on a breakout move. It could be as low as 115 points. If we can settle somewhere in the 120 point range, that could be a pretty significant move back to the extreme. So if we're breaking through, say, 2680 plus 120, that takes us to 2800 to retest the recent highs. So again, with any breakout here, you want to make sure that price can maintain the gains after the breakout move. Not only that, but you want to see more expansion as well. So it looks like a day one breakout attempt, but you got to be able to hold on to those gains by the end of the RTH session here. This could be a great move, not only to 2800, but a quicker move to the edge of the previous month's range. That's going to take you to the previous month's high at about the 2770s. All right, taking a look here at the YM. YM right now, 99 points of range, very, very narrow. 99 points of range, barely even see it on the chart here on a daily chart basis. And if we drop this back down to a one-day reading here, you'll see that's 26% of ADR. That's super narrow, barely registering right now, but it is moving off of the previous week's low and the previous week's close price. So previous week's low, previous week's close right here, moving higher off that level. That means that we do have the potential to bounce back, perhaps back as high as the previous week's midpoint. Previous week's midpoint, 44,918. 44,918 is the previous week's midpoint, so we could be having a little bit of a bounce back week up here. This one also in a multi-day compression here. Multi-day compression. With Friday's close, it could look like we were breaking to the downside or perhaps anticipating a downside break, but we're still pretty much inside the range here for now. And that compression is building up 2,000 points of range. Do we get a 2,000 point move here before the volatility cuts off in the back half of December? That could be in play. It did happen last year, so we'll see if we can get some increased volatility in December, because right now it's been a very quiet start to December for blue chips. Looking at Bitcoin right now, down 2.7% at the moment, a little bit of a pullback. Friday was the highest closing price ever for Bitcoin, where it closed at 101,580. That followed the previous all-time high here of 105,325. The close price 101,580 here. We get a little bit of a pullback just shy of the 100,000 level, but still trending up in a big way. I mentioned before that this right here may not have been a strong high. It was a intraday rejection, pretty decent size range there, but that we are still in a very bullish trend. Still in a very bullish trend for right now, and we could see price push through that midpoint and continue to find new highs up ahead. Very strong market overall. But at some point would be nice to get a key range development so that we can have more reliable targets down the road. As of right now, this thing could continue to march toward 120,000 up ahead. So very, very strong overall, and not really seeing signs of a strong rejection just yet that would lead to heavy selling pressure. Although if this continues to develop and we can't push through that mid here, then perhaps we could see some pullback. If we did, it'd be a welcome pullback for a key range development that could point us to the next upside target. As of right now, working higher toward 120,000. Lastly, looking at Ether futures here, this one's down 4%, still in an uptrend. Outside day up, hit new highs here as well. This is new highs for the year. On Friday, 41.42 half. New highs for the year. A little bit of a pullback at the moment, but still showing strength off the lows of the day. For the most part, this market right here, if it can push through 4,000 with confidence here, you start to open up the next market structure level above, which is 4,600. 4,600 is the next market structure level above, and then beyond that, 5,200 would be the next one beyond that. 5,200 also has significance by way of a key range 100% target. So that impulse move right there created this key range, and it points to 5,200 down the road. So we're looking at 4,600 and 5,200 on a longer term basis here, perhaps into Q1 of next year. But right now, still trending up, still showing quite a bit of strength. bulls want to continue to buy the dips here, and any acceptance through 4,000 starts to open up the next level above at 4,600. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the week. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.